Greetings and welcome to episode 56 of my Empire Total War Darth mod Russia campaign. And this, my friends, I left it last time, where we are finally, my friends, after many years of building up and waiting. And of course the council has moved for this on quite a number of occasions here, that we finally move into the new world here. At last, Russia taking its first steps into the new world. Now it has been quite a while, because we haven't really had the forces to sort of move in, the additional forces. We've had to pull forces off other fronts to be able to free up the resources to be able to move into the new world. But now we're here, we're going to establish ourselves very firmly where we are. We are attacking this triumvirate here of pirate islands. We have Windward Islands, we have Leeward Islands, and we have the further islands down to the south there we're also going to be taking. And of course we've moved in three very experienced, veteran, battle-hardened armies here into the new world. Our first tentative steps, we're not going to just push out like, you know, with a great behemoth here. We're not going to be doing that. We're going to be taking these islands, we're going to be establishing a very firm presence here in the new world, or shall we say in the Caribbean here first, before we take our steps onto the on the mainland of South America and North America. Because we have to feed in additional naval forces, we have to feed in additional heavy armour, heavy cannon. We have a huge amount of the supply line is massively stretched here. We're looking at least 6,000 or 7,000 miles of travel from the very heart of the sort of Russian Empire out here into the new world. So it's going to take us a time here, but this is our first sort of delicate steps into the new world here. We have to tackle these pirates here, these fiends here, these pirates here. But as you can see, if we auto-resolve, look at the auto-resolve potential here. The pirates that actually hold against this force here, highly unlikely. But we are not going to give anything to chance here. We have to battle our way through here. As you can see, we bring some exceptional troops here, including 2 grenadier regiments. And look at the experience of these gentlemen here. They have fought many a campaign, as you can see. This is a highly veteranized army. It really is one that's been in the mud and the blood here, fighting on multiple fronts. We've in fact pulled these forces away from the Eastern Front, so as you can imagine they have been in some quite brutal, grisly fights here indeed, so they're fully prepared to meet these pirates head on. And we have of course Joey Stefan here, of course a brand new general here. Welcome him into the fold there, my friends, welcome into the council as always. And now we take our first fight here. We're going to liberate the Windward Islands, take it for Russia, and our first step, as you can see, we've got a small fleet sort of loitering about, just in case the pirates decide they want to try and sort of come and hit some of the lines, trade lines we're going to establish here. We are going to eventually feed in a massive naval force into this area. We really are. The Caribbean will become firmly Russian. It really will. But okay, we have to do it. We don't want to overstep the boundaries here. We don't have a massive presence here. We don't have the production either within the new world to be able to really sort of produce the armies we need, produce the heavy guns we need here. This is a tentative step, as I've said, but let's begin this battle here. The first battle here against the pirate foes here, my friends, in the Windward Islands, Martinique. What a fight it should be. And we shall show the world that we mean business, but also this will give us a huge diplomatic boost, because remember, if we take down the pirates, the rest of the nations will look on us favourably, and who knows where that might lead us. But at the moment, we're not going to worry about the other nations. We are strong enough to stand on our own 2 feet here. We don't need other nations just yet. As many of you noticed, even if we've had trade cut off, even if we've lost trade contracts with other countries, we've still been able to manage to stand on our own 2 feet there. Broad-shouldered, sir. Chin up. We are ready to fight no matter what. And we shall carve out our own empire. We shall carve out our own trade. We don't need others, I can assure you. The Russian Empire will prevail. It will prevail. What a fight this is. Now the pirates, once they glance over the horizon at the sheer magnificence of the army that stands before them, then they shall realise what they've done. Look at this, what a wonderful sight here. Now let's have a look at our deployment here. We've got it's a medium-sized deployment zone here, so the battlefield is quite undulating here, but you've got to get pretty close into the ground here to see that undulation. There it is, a sort of a small rise here in this sort of hillock, as it were. Got some walls, but they're not going to be much good to us here, because they run, unfortunately, parallel to us instead of horizontal. But still, we shall make the most of what we've got here. Now we do have, yes indeed we do, we do have some fire support here. Luckily we've brought 2 howitzers into this particular battle. Now, oh look at that, the pirates are actually straddled in here, so that means if they're in the town, The town is going to break up their deployment here. Remember, they're coming towards us, so what we're going to do is we're going to move out to greet them. We've only got one cavalry regiment, but I think that should be enough. It is cuirassiers, of course, that heavy 8th Horse Guards. Now, I think we'll avoid the right flank here because it's quite deep into the village here. We're actually going to hit on the left flank here. As you can see, we've got plenty of potential here to move into that space there. Remember, they've got mortars, the absolute bane of our lives here. We're actually going to go into diamond formation here, just so we can move out and attack. We want to go for those mortars as soon as we possibly can. I think we'll also move in forces to tackle the Russians head on. I think what we'll do is we'll move back and possibly use the trees here to shelter ourselves, to hide some of our regiments. I think we'll send some regiments out into the fight. I think we'll keep the grenadiers out of harm's way. But first of all, let's just settle our fire support here. I know we've had some recommendations as well for what we should be doing in the future. We'll discuss that momentarily. Let's have quick climb going on here. Now I know that many of you have said in previous campaigns not to put our guns within the forests here. So for that matter, I will actually take your advice, the council's advice there, and just run howitzers here. But I think we shall have some of the light. I think we'll have grenadiers. I think we'll have the grenadiers moving out because, of course, they are one of our finest formations we have here, our finest regiments. And I think we shall also. I think we should send out 2 regiments of Novogrodsky here. They've proved a formidable foe against the enemy. Gentlemen, thank you. They will move out with the other grenadiers here. Look at that, what a magnificent sight there. Look at that. That is an absolute... What the blazes is going on here? Well, that hasn't come down too well there, is it? It looks like they'll be rolling around in the mud. But whatever their uniform colour, as long as they do their job, that is all we're concerned about here. Now let's just pull these 3 regiments here into some kind of coherent formation. Who do we have here? Line Infantry and Trisky Regiment. And again, I'd imagine they'll probably also be rolling around in mud. Indeed they have. So I think what we will do is we'll put the Line Infantry in the absolute vanguard here, our defence. .44th Regiment, I think, because of course we're going to come into quite a sustained amount of fire here. So I think we're going to have to use the trenches. We'll have the 47th on the right. Although this regiment here on the left, we don't need a great deal of forces out in the field here because of course we're not dealing with a massive... We're not dealing with a massive sort of pirate force here. We've got to have enough here to deal with anything that comes our way. We'll have this regiment here. Gentlemen, thank you. 10th Regiment. Right on the precipice, right on the cusp here of our deployment zone. We'll have the 14th Regiment here. I think we can probably pull the rest into a reserve role here. I don't think we need any more out on the line here. We've actually got 4 regiments that can stand in reserve. We'll actually push 2 of them onto the right flank just in case. We shall take them off fire at will. We shall put them in the trenches, and indeed the same here, off at fire at will, but on into the trenches. Now, that should be more than enough to deal with what we've got in front of us here, the pirates. Let's take the fight to the pirates. Move, gentlemen, double time! Look at that, what a wonderful sight there. The Grenadiers leading the way. We might take some... What the blazes have I done here? That is an absolute disaster on my part there, and entirely my fault. Move it, gentlemen. Entirely my fault. No one else is to stand guilty apart from me. But our men will face the consequences of that ridiculous action of mine. Show yourself, sir, show yourself. it is. I'm going to go right around here. Not a man lost. Now that is because of the absolute iron discipline that General Stefan here is infused upon these troops here. Look at that. That is hard running there. Hard graft. Look at that. Wonderful to see them on the march. Let's take it to them, gentlemen, if you would, please. Oh, look at that. They've been absolutely poleaxed here. Gentlemen, move quickly. Look at this. What a magnificent sight here. These cuirassiers moving. What the blazes are they up to? Gentlemen, you were given order not to canter. Look at that Russian power on the move. Actually, let's trap them in the field here. We'll actually crush them in this flank here. Look at that. They've been absolutely into them, please, gentlemen. Show them no mercy. Russian power moving into the new world, and the world shall tremble at our might. Oh, look at that. That is an absolute joy to see. It really is. That warms the cockles of the heart there. And soon their only last remaining piece of firepower will break under the weight of... Little do they know what's coming for them. Come on, gentlemen, move now, please, if you would, sir. Didn't see that coming, did you, sir? Look at that, right into the flank here. Where's those grenadiers, gentlemen, if you would, please? Thank you. Redirect fire. They've been shattered. I think we'll just chase these down. We're going to run parallel to these gentlemen. Nothing too fancy. Now we've cleared out their only fire support. Not even a man lost there. What looked lively has looked lively. Where's that fire support? Come on, gentlemen. Get those guns loaded. What a fight this is. Look at that. The absolute dust here. This dust of this sort of... These islands here. Here we go. Come on, gentlemen. How long does it take you to ram home those rounds? Move! Once we open up on these pirates, doom shall fall upon them. Here comes the fire support. Look at that. Adjust your angles, lads. Adjust your angles. Ceasefire. Ceasefire. Look at what? Look at that falling there. Look at that. Shattered. They're wavering. Oh, it's an absolute joy to see. Heroic victory. Of course, sir. Of course, do they realise they're dealing with the absolute power, the behemoth here of Russian power? We lost 76 men. We lost 76 men. They lost everyone bar 11 men. Have we captured the Windward Islands? Yes. Oh, look at these guns we've got available here. Now they've light infantry. All light infantry, one howitzers here, one mortar, beg your pardon, howitzers. We've only got one cavalry again here, but the gunfire we have here, the fire support we have here is quite exceptional. It really is. I think we're going to have Trinidad and Tobago, but this is going to be more of a fight here. This is probably their stronghold here. This is their real headquarters here of the pirates, this stronghold. That's where they've got so many available forces available to them, but let's be honest here. General Ernok here is absolutely going to cut a swathe through these pirates here. A wonderful general. And he leads his men with absolute iron discipline, but also with courage as well, my friends. General with deep conviction here as well. Loyal to an absolute fault here. He really is. Look at that wonderful side there. And this is a veteran army, once again pulled from the east and fighting in the Middle East. So you can imagine the fighting they were involved in, their absolute brutality here. Let's take the fight, my friend. Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago will be quite the fight here. If you can hear any noise in the background, my friends, I do apologise. You probably can guess whom that is. Once again, requesting my attention and not getting it. Find ourselves now once again moving in. Can we get this triumvirate here of islands here? We've got this is a much, looks like we've moved since that last fight into daytime here. We might be fighting in the dusk in our next battle as well for the last island here, but we have an absolute swathe here of forested area here on this right flank, which we are going to use to our advantage here. Remember, we're up against a much stronger pirate force. We mustn't underestimate the pirates here. To do that will be our undoing. So we're going to form a much more conventional line here. 20th Regiment. Let's just get a grasp here of where the pirates are. Now it looks like they're once again locked into this town. Now the town is going to break up their formation, but they do have a much larger deployment zone. So we're going to sit a little bit more forward here. We want, mind you, we've got to be careful of their mortars, but still, that's the consequences that we're going to take of mortars. But we're going to use General Ernok. Actually, what we will do again, once again, but we'll switch flanks. This time we won't go on to the immediate left here. We'll actually go on to the right. Again, we've got a much more open plan here, much more open fields towards us here. Open range, dare I say. So again, diamond formation. Now let's set up these guns here. Now that is a wonderful sight. Look at that, we've actually cut the road here as well. That's the road leading in to Trinidad and Tobago here. So actually we're going to set our guns quite forward here, but they're going to give absolute hell here. Actually, we might even split the guns up here. So we've got howitzers under separate command, and also we got the foot artillery under separate command as well. Now that shrapnel shot will be absolutely brutal. We're going to keep them on round shot, but we are going to keep the quick lime here. Mind you, they are quite close to us. What is the shrapnel shot range here? Sometimes it can be a little bit short. Oh, actually, it's not actually showing us what the shrapnel range is unless it's quite very, very far. We don't actually know yet, so we're actually going to put it on round shot, and then we will actually see then where it goes from there. General Ernok here, we should be placed behind the line. Actually, we'll sit General Ernok here, just across the road here, so we can. This is sort of a symbolic gesture here of cutting the road using General Ernok. Of course, he was ordered to cut the road here into Trinidad and Tobago, and he has done this orders again to the absolute letter. of those orders. A wonderful general here. Now, whom should we use? We don't need all of these forces, but we're going to need quite a few more than we did in the last battle. We are up against a much more aggressive foe in terms of the amount we're going to be facing. Now, we are going to be taking hits from their mortar. That is, we've just got to accept that that's the case. The 77th Regiment here, which has a very, very veteran force here. I think we'll use the 16th and 77th to anchor this defensive line. Again, we need trenches because of those mortars. The 15th Regiment here on the left. And we've got the 20th Regiment, I think we'll have here on the right. Now we are actually going to probably send out quite a combative force to move in. So for that region we've got the 53rd, 55th and 57th Regiments. I think we'll use these gentlemen to sort of push the pirates into a particular formation we want them to be, or a particular angle we want them to come out. We're going to try and force them into the areas we want. Actually, we'll probably pull the 75th Regiment in with that force here. Let's go quite heavy and hard in this here. Now we've got the 54th Regiment here as well. Now these are of course hidden here, so if they come upon these, look at that, they blend in here absolutely perfect. Look at that, what a wonderful sight there. Look at that, the density here of this forest just gives them a beautiful camouflage here. Why aren't we giving them trenches, gentlemen, please? But I think we will actually use the 52nd here. So once the deployment ends, we need to put the 52nd here. We can pull these gentlemen back here. I don't think we need all of these here. In fact, we'll just put this regiment here as a reserve. The 78th, take them off fire at will. And the same here for the 3rd and 56th Regiments. Of course, the 52nd Regiment will go here once deployment ends. Now, I believe we've got enough firepower here to absolutely throttle the pirates. But let's begin that battle. Let's find out what we're up against here. Look at that. They've come right heavy here, very right heavy. Where are those guns? Where are those guns? Where are those guns, gentlemen? There they are. Look at that. Right in them. Right, let's punch a hole through these pirate lines here. Double time, gentlemen. Gentlemen, double time! Just one man lost there. One man lost. That's why it's so crucial we go for those mortars. Gentlemen, move. Double time it. Trying to use the forest here as our sort of... We are going to get a bit behind them. We are going to get it behind them this year. Come on, look at this now. Move, lads, move! Oh, we don't shirk our responsibility here at all. Oh, damn it, I didn't unlimber. That is... Oh my goodness me, what an absolute idiot. That's entirely my fault once again. Come on, man, for goodness sake, get your head out of the clouds, boy. Get them out of the clouds here. Give them a good blast here. Oh my goodness me, look at that, right across the line. Move now. Ah! Oh my goodness me, they've been, look at that, they've even... Look at this. This is an absolute massacre here, sir. I bet they never thought they'd be facing this type of firepower. Come on then, charge in, you buccaneers. Get ready, lads. Prepare to fire. Oh, look at that. They've been absolutely cut down to pieces here. Brace for impact, steady lads! If they want to fight, then they shall receive it, I can assure you, sir. Look at that, they didn't even know this was here, the woods here. They're in behind us. Charge! Fix bayonets! Charge, lads! Now where you running to, curs? Excuse any noise in the background, my friends. You can probably tell whom that is. Oh, they've broken those fiends. Broken all along the line. Look at that. What an absolute... That is a wondrous sight to see. It seems we have some stragglers left here. We shall oblige, sir. Let's teach them the lesson they won't forget. Look lively, lads, look lively. I don't care how tired you are, move, lads. As I said, General Unuk has instilled an iron discipline to these men here. An iron will. That's how you deal with them. Shattered. Shattered. Whom else stands? No one. There's the answer. What a wonderful fight that was. The third island, the third Trinidad and Tobago, firmly under Russian control now. We lost 195 more men there, a bit more than last time, but still, look at how we absolutely obliterated them. Is it under our control now, Trinidad and Tobago? Is it firmly under... Yes, it is. Well done, gentlemen. Well done. Leeward Islands under Russian control. Trinidad and Tobago under Russian control. Windward Islands under Russian control. Oh, look at that! Then actually, look at that! What a... Oh, yes! 4 brand new ships here. Now these are all being built to specifically be moved into the new world here. We are trying to build up a large fleet here under a very short space of time. We are going to be putting a lot of money into building up, excuse me, my friends, a really strong, powerful new world fleet, as it were, under the direction of the council. Remember, this is purely a council-driven operation. The council has recommended this, has put in some wonderful plans, some exemplary plans here of how we should proceed. Everything you see in the new world is driven entirely by the advice, the council, the plans of the council itself. This is purely a council-led operation. It's starting to show dividends here. It really is. We are absolutely butchered the pirates. And I think we've got ourselves a firm foothold here where we are actually going to have established quite a powerful empire, as it were, or a very large imprint here in the new world. And we're not going to be able to push Britain out just yet. As you can see, Britain controls all of North America and a good swathe here of South America as well. So to push them out of here, and also if you can see the Cherokee nations have dug in quite under sort of the wing of the British. The Cherokees have what they have because the British have allowed them to have it. Remember that. So that's what we're up against. We are up against quite a very strong British Empire here, incredibly strong here in the New World. So that's what we've got to get ourselves established here. So that's what we're trying to build up our forces here, so that we can feed more forces into the Caribbean, and from there we can potentially move against Britain if Britain ever gets a little bit dicey with us, shall we say. We're at peace with Great Britain, but as we expand, they're not going to be we're allied with New Spain, but as you can see, New Spain is starting, or Spain should I say, is starting to collapse under British, the juggernaut as it were. They've got New Mexico still here. But look at this, I mean look at it. Canada, North America, Texas, and now New Spain has fallen. It's only a small amount of time before all of the New Spain here in the New World is completely gone. That's why we've had to do what we do. We've had to establish this colony here very quickly here. Now, we've got 32,000. Let's quickly look what's here. It has arrived. I believe we were going to reconnoitre here because of a Persian... Remember, the council also recommended that we might be able to strike Persia from sort of the Arabian Sea. So in other words, striking from here, from Bandar Abbas here, and moving, or even striking from the coast of the Persian Gulf here and moving inland. So that's why we've sent this ship here, to scout, to reconnoitre here. We're at peace with them, but still, we need to know what their strengths are here. Gentlemen, if you would please, thank you. Now what's their income? 8,000 there. 7,000 from Prussia. So Prussia is not going to be amused at all if we take them out there. Now that is quite an experienced fighting force. Now they've bumped up against the sort of the forward defences here of the Mughal Empire, and the Mughal Empire dominate this, apart from Britain here taking a great swathe here of Calcutta and Cuttack here, but that is not no concern of ours at all. We're not concerned what Britain does in India. Mind you, Britain really is quite a powerful, very powerful indeed. But as you can see, the Mughals are very well prepared here for any Persian problems. But again, that's not our concern. We need to know... Oh, there's a rebel army here. Again, that's going to give them some problems here. They are still experiencing quite a lot of rebellions here. And even then, the populace is still not really happy. Food shortages are providing a lot of distraction for them here. But again, they do have a powerful force here. So, moving into port here of Bandar Abbas might be the way in here, but we'd have to battle our way into this port here. We'd be fighting effectively on the beaches. We'd be fighting in the ports here, clearing the buildings, clearing the port itself. It might take an army group into here, to be honest with you. The pincer movement. But as you can see here, because we've moved a very powerful shock force here onto the border here of Persia, they're starting indeed to move their own forces into here, but they're dealing with quite a strong rebellion. We're also beginning to feed more forces into Armenia. And we're also... Oh, look at that. We can also upgrade this fishing fleet here as well. I think we've got food shortages. Yes, indeed, we do have food shortages, which are hitting population growth here quite hard. So in fact, we'll upgrade this, try and bring down that food shortage. Oh, look at that. We can actually get a steam-powered cloth mill here as well. But... actually, we can get quite a lot here now. But as you can see here, my friends, the nearest major production centre we have here in the Middle East is Baghdad, and then you're looking at at least 1,000 miles here between Damascus here and Baghdad, and that is going to take a long time for forces to move forward here when the war with Persia takes place. So moving these forces back and forth all the time is going to take a lot of time. That's why we're trying to build up a strong sort of group strike force here, so that we don't have to rely on forces coming from elsewhere. When we attack Persia, it's going to be overwhelming, hitting them immediately, and then from there seeing where we go. But they're still taking a beating here from these rebellions here. We're trying to pull in these forces, but I think what we'll do is we'll move this force down here to join this force here, which is what it's being earmarked for. Wonderful. And we could probably, mind you, we've got to make sure we keep Baghdad absolutely under firm lock and key. Actually, we could probably retrofit these as well, and these as well. No, that's not any good to us there at all. We're going to retrofit these armies here. Now, I think we'll have some 24-pounders as well, because they prove very, very useful indeed. Now we've got a good amount of money here, so we can actually start to increase our oh, look at that there. We've got that there. That can actually build that there. So put that into construction. Now let's have a look what we've got here. Anatolia, Crimea as well has also got a shipping fleet here as well. Again, this is a council-driven initiative here for the fishing fleets, so we can drive down the lack of food. As you can see here, food shortages are quite heavy here, and we don't want our populace to be starving. That's not what we're here for. And again, we've got a very powerful fleet here in this narrow passage between Mediterranean and the Black Sea, primarily because of this force here that the Persians have here as well, and also these forces here, which they're building up quite the strong navy here. That is nothing to be sniffed at all. So we're going to have to definitely reinforce. But I think what we do need to do is actually send this fleet, or this ship here, to the New World. We've got to really sort of prioritise what we're going to be doing here. Ideally, we need to control what's coming in out of Gibraltar, the Gibraltar Straits here. Now look at Britain here as well. Look at that force there. Steamship Britannia. Britain is going to be our biggest problem in the future, because it's going to absolutely cripple us to fight Britain, because they are just so well established here. And look at their navies, my word. Oh my goodness me. There's going to be a brutal fight against Britain. I cannot even underestimate the fight that will be. We've got that fully. Infrastructure is full here as well, because our war with Persia is going to be definitely moving into position here. And we're moving in riflemen, scouts, breech loader, and also some more Grenadier Guards. Now they're going to be Grenadier. Oh, look at that. We've also got some 64-pounder in here as well. And again, moving forces into here. We've got a very, very strong battle line here as well, in case they move in against us here again. Remember before, they sort of punched a hole through the Don here and just spread out all. They even took Tartaria here, which was quite the fight to take back off them. I know some of these forces just stood here, but it looks like they're doing nothing. But believe me, they are going to be contributing. We're going to move this force here with another 64-pounder in St. Petersburg. Because remember, we also have got to consider the problem we have here with Prussia, which is absolutely buoyant here. I mean, they've got France. I believe they're at war with Spain, but Spain is getting absolutely crippled here. And their money coming in from the New World is shrinking fast. We might even have to prop Spain up, and that is saying something. Mind you, look at this army they've got here. That navy there, we might have to prop Spain up, and I'm not really. Mind you, look at Spain. They've got all of the Mediterranean under their control. They've got a good swathe of Europe still under their control, but they are at war with Prussia, and as you can see, Prussia's moved in quite an experienced force here. Look at that general. That general is probably the most experienced general we've got anywhere in any of the nations. And he's right on the border with Spain here, so they move across there. Spain's going to be in for a real fight. And as the council recommended, maybe if Prussia moves in against Spain, we might have to send forces in to actually prop up the Spanish government. Which, my friends, is not really ideal for us at the moment, because we are, at the moment, pretty stretched. That's fully upgraded there. We've still got food shortages here as well. Oh. We can't trade with anybody else. Oh, we can trade with Italian states. Just some trade, sir. Just some trade. Then suit yourself. The allies with Prussia. The Italian states. We'd have to be very wary of what happens here. But again, we're also trying to build up forces here to take and move into Venice. But that's going to take a very long while for us to be able to do that. But we are keeping our armies sort of at a distance from each other, so we don't sort of spook the Venetians here. And of course, we've still got a very powerful sort of group of forces here. Now what? We don't need a naval board, that would be a complete waste of money. But we do have new forces being produced here, recruited here, should I say. Now, sharpshooters, I think we have some sharpshooters. They will definitely coming into their own here. We're putting another army together here on the border. And actually we'll put them here, I think, just in view here of Warsaw. Now let's let the centre here as well also build some troops here. Naval board, which we don't need. Oh, actually, I beg your pardon. We've got Fusiliers, we've got Cuirassier Guards, we've got Grenadier Guards being produced here. We've got line infantry guards. Oh my goodness me! Look at the number of forces you can get here. Oh, Russian Tsar Guards. I think we should be having some of those, gentlemen. Absolutely. And that's pretty far flung there. 500 regional wealth. What we're looking to do is absolutely boost our regional wealth here. I think we'll invest in some more economy here. Ideally into trade. So we want to try and boost the trade we've got here in Bulgaria. Burgas and Varna. What will they bring in if we invest 500? Let's do that. And here, 500. What have we got coming in next turn? 30,913. Look at that, 145,000. But look at the expenditure here on the army. And actually, that's been hit here. America has been cut off by whom? Look at the bonus here. 4,423 bonus of Great Britain. 13,000 from the Mughal Empire. 17,000 from Prussia. So that's why we've got to invest in our economy. We have to be able to take, really take that hit. If some of the trade is cancelled here, we have to be able to really absorb that hit there. So we've got to invest as much as we can in our economy as well. 2,270 we've got left available here. We're recruiting substantially here. Actually, we could probably use Kiev as well. Actually, they're moving down to here. For some reason, they're being moved into here. But because they're being moved out to the New World. So what we've got to establish here is this New World force is being moved into position. Another cannon as well, which I think will probably move down again to be moved into the New World. Because remember, we've got to keep feeding reinforcements into the New World as well. And down here as well is a in Rifleman Scout. $5,000 coming in there. Magnificent. Now let's have a look. They're friendly with Britain, but only just. Prussia, we're very friendly with Prussia now. Game with Mughal, but Britain is going to be the possible problem here. As you can see, territorial expansion is driving it down. Alliance with an enemy is -70. Everything's going in the minuses at the moment. So Britain could potentially be a future ally, but to be honest with you, I would say that Persia is the one that's... Actually, they're friendly with us. That is a... Venice is unfriendly. Genoa is hostile. But we're not going to be friendly with them forever. But we've got to build up what we've got here. We have to be able to, you know, really bolster our trade coming in here. Getting every penny we can out of this here. Right, let's turn to the New World here and try and repair some of these forces. Oh, look at that coming in here. That is an absolute joy to see. We'll have a steam dry dock because that'll give us the ability to, you know, have ships ready here. We've got these gentlemen here. And also a naval hospital as well. Definitely have that. Then we will repair what we've got as well. That's combat fleet. I think which we'll put here in Barbados. Wonderful. Now we are going to replenish and repair all of these, so I think we've got things firmly under control here, to be honest with you. More than enough of under control. Yeah, everything's under control here. So we will repair all of these next turn. Oh, look at that. We've also got this force here now. They've got Punda here. Now Punda, yeah, Punda is quite a wealthy region as well. But we've blockaded here, so we'll have to deal with Punda as well at some point. And actually, that is a very powerful force they've got there. Very powerful indeed. So we could earmark a force for that as well. Probably this force here, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, got lots of cavalry to take on that. Artillery. Let's do one thing at a time. We've got them blockaded here, so nothing will be happening there. We've got our foothold here now. Right, let's end the turn. Actually, research and development. How's it going? I think it's all finished, if I'm not mistaken. Indeed it is. So in other words, we can probably turn these into... We can probably turn these into economic buildings now. The traditional university. I can go. Now Mosul. A modern university. I think we can get rid of that. Dana. Look at that. They're right in Egypt. Didn't look at that. We shall destroy that one. Here. Now we should dispose of that. Take our agent out of here. I believe that's all we need here. And there as well. We shall dispose of this. Hopefully bring down this here. This clamour for reform will reduce. Right, let's end the turn, my friends. Hopefully Spain can hold here, because that is the problem we've faced at the moment. Spain. Can they hold against the British and Prussian aggression, because they're being squeezed from both sides? Well done, sir. Well done, Britain. Now Britain is absolutely got an absolute bucket load of money coming in there. We have to be wary. I'm surprised that Savoy have been allowed to do that. Spain set up Milan here. Prussia, what will they do? If they move against Spain, we might have to tip our hand here and try and back up Spain. They're an ally of ours, remember? But still, that's something to consider. But we don't have the forces ready to move into Spain to help them. But using the money, the trade from the New World will definitely help us there. Sweden. Now where exactly are you going, sir? Inuits, Mughal Empire, Mysoreans, Denmark, nothing of any great import has happened here. Excellent. And again we're going to increase that there so we can try and lower the food shortages here, which are just crippling at the moment. Oh, look at that. Now we've got a huge amount of forces here earmarked. And again we're going to have to send these forces into the New World to deal with any British aggression when we're trying to build up those forces we got. Especially the naval forces. Because Britain's naval forces in the Caribbean and that, in the Caribbean, I beg your pardon, and also in the trade nodes there are exceptional. Now I think it's probably best if we do recruit some more galleon here. Got 26,000, 32,000 here. Excellent. Continue to grow our naval presence here. Not much, but it's a start. And also now we've got these repaired, we can actually produce our own ships in the Mediterranean. In the Caribbean, I beg your pardon, I got the Mediterranean on the brain here. Again, let's repair all of these so we can get things moving at great haste. The infrastructure is good here as well. We can also replenish these armies. Ready for future battles. Look at that, hardly anything lost here. This is probably the army that's taking probably the most beating here. But again, nothing that we can't handle here. Romalia, excellent. +1 to morale in battles, excellent. Our general is gone, has passed away here. And here as well on the border with Persia. Going to get 12 pounders here, unfortunately. Can't get dragoons, but still we need to keep. Oh, look at that. I think we'll send these gentlemen straight down into the Persian front here. Now let's continue our recruitment, shall we? Oh, look at that. That is a magnificent sight. Now we haven't had any blunderbuss shotgunners, but look at that, actually 23. Devastating close, I think we'll have close range support for absolute definite there, sir. Investing in that there is not conducive at the moment. We're going to invest heavily in our infantry, in our army here. Look at that as well, Lancer Guards. We're going to be sending these gentlemen. Actually, I wonder if we build up a force here that might be able to help the Spanish. I think it's time we put together an elite force that might be used again to help the Spanish. Because if Prussia moves against Spain in a great way, we don't want to lose that ally there. Spain is a very strong ally of ours. And we cannot afford to lose them. So we might actually be moving towards... Oh, wait a minute, sir. I think we'll have 3 of those gentlemen there. Some more 24 pounders. And indeed we're going to have cuirassiers, heavy. I think we'll start putting together a force to help the Spanish well if Prussia moves in any aggressive way. Can we get Marines here, or do we need Marines indeed. So we're going to have these gentlemen anyway. To get the Marines. So in that case we're going to produce all our Marines from here. I think we'll put together a force as well, just to help Spain. Because if we're going to commit to being a strong ally with Spain, we have to also commit to doing this as well. And I think we definitely need some more. Can't get any more heavy duty first rates here. That's a war galleon, not going to do us much good. Second heavy frigate. We're looking for sheer firepower here, nothing more, nothing less. We have got the Knights of St. John closed off here, which we do need to do. Come on now, Spain, hold strong here against any aggression. How are they doing here? They've actually are holding here at the moment. But again, that's none of our business here, what's happening here in terms of this, but hopefully they can hold the British off for longer than until we can get ourselves together here in the Caribbean and we can help them out. But this really is starting to pay dividends here for us, it really is. Quite a powerful force. But again, our navy is nowhere near equipped to deal with the British in the Caribbean here in the New World. Nowhere near. 3,840 here. Do we really need 2 naval hospitals here? I don't think we probably do. I think we'll just stick with this with the steam dry dock. We'll actually convert this to a trade port. Right, this final turn here, my friends, of this particular episode. Now we've moved them gentlemen into there. That's fine. Britain is going to do what exactly? Come on, Spain, stand strong, sir. We can't really be propping up the Spanish government. It really isn't conducive to our plans at all. Ooh, they're raiding the British there. Prussia continuing to move in those forces. But why are we starting to see some ragged flags here from the Prussians? They shouldn't really be suffering from any particular hangover of losing any income, because their income is just absolutely ginormous. Persia, our next target. Now they're starting to build up some forces here. Knights of St. John, Mughal Empire. Whoa, look at that Danish fleet, that is huge. Fear thee not, sir, fear thee not. We shall have our general. +1 happiness ability. Oh, look at that. We've got the guns here. We can absolutely replace these guns now. Or at least some of them. Probably the rest of the defenders have these new guns. Let's disband. Move in 3. We shall dismiss these 3 and then push in these to here. I think it's probably best that we have one more howitzer. Let's retrofit these armies here. Got 33,000, so we're going to definitely have to reinforce the front here. We have cuirassiers, which we're going to need, and also some additional line infantry forces. We're pushing. We really are moving towards aiming for the Persians here. We want the collapse to come. Now I think we can also probably push in these gentlemen into Armenia as well as additional forces. And let's get the engineering school up and running here. Some more 24 pounders. And again, additional cuirassiers and also some line infantry. Wait a minute. We definitely need also some more additional heavy first rates. Now can we feed any additional more forces from here? Oh my goodness me, look at that force! We've got sharpshooters. We don't have a general in here. We've got so many forces in here we haven't even got a general. What we'll do, we'll pull out this gentleman here, the sharpshooters, and actually have ourselves a general. So we need a general here. We have a new army available here. This is one of the probably the most elite forces we have available to ourselves here. This is effectively a marine force here. If anybody would like to be general of that, actually we've got a force here that could probably do with some sharpshooters. So they're not going to go to waste at all. Recruitment here is stopped. Got to keep those forces flowing. I know it's a big tax upon our economy, but still 151, that's grown as well very nicely there. Excellent. New fleet has arrived. We build up our naval combat power here. I think we'll have the Barbados as our sort of staging area here for this fleet, which we're building in the ports here. As you can see, it's already coming together quite nicely. The sloop here is. What we will do is we'll combine this here. We'll actually put the sloop here to deal with anything here. Now, have we repaired? We are repairing this army here. Now, there it is. We can now get a trading port up here, so we can really start pumping out some excellent. What we've got here, we've got a low yield here. I think it's probably prudent to have a naval combat facility here as well. Because in the Caribbean we want to try and be self-sufficient, but until we get something potentially like maybe New Andalusia here in Caracas here, that is, look at that, I mean that is absolutely a wonderful production centre. If we had something like that, then we wouldn't have to worry. We'd have a ready-made place to be able to produce our guns, recruit our troops. We don't have that. We've got to ferry them in from, you know, what is effectively Europe and also Russia itself. So as you can imagine, that is a long trek to get here. And we've got 3,804. Look at that, 13,000 from Britain. So we're nowhere near matching their wealth coming in from the New World. But bit by bit, we're going to start increasing our firepower here. As you can see, we'll move the sloop into here, which is going to be the sort of the base. So we have Puerto de España is going to be the base for troop transports. What do we have here? Now this naval force here is going to be excellent for us. So in fact we'll combine it here. Remember, we're going to have Barbados as our naval task force. So that's going to be where we're going to put all of our naval task force is going to be here. We're going to have one, or at least two, possibly even three naval task force in this region. But this is going to be our first one we've built here. And we do need an admiral as well. We can't promote one at the moment. We're going to get an admiral for this as well, for this force, which is going to be operating out of Barbados. We can't actually increase any of this yet. We've actually increased them to the maximum. This port has been increased to the maximum, indeed it has. But my friends, we've established at last all of these three, this triumvirate here of islands here. As soon as we've got one of these up and running here, one of these We've quelled the resistance here, the foreign occupation. One of these armies, possibly the army from, oh no, it definitely will be the army from the Leeward Islands here, will be moving out and taking Punda. But Punda's going to be a much tougher ask. It really is. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4. They got 5 artillery pieces at their disposal. We've got colonial militia as well, and they've also got a good selection here of buccaneers. So we're going to be definitely up against it taking Punda. But if we can take Punda though, it will open up the Aruba plantations, which are abundant, and eventually we'll have here this village here as well. But we'll probably, yes, and we'll also have the global trading company as well, so that'll link into all of our trade coming out of here, which will be absolutely fantastic. It really will. We've got also a new port being built here as well. But my friends, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, please keep your comments coming down below, my friends. The council's suggestions, plans, and everything has been absolutely wondrous. It really has been exemplary advice. That's going to be still needed here, even more so now, because we've, again, this is a council operation here. The council has recommended we do this, launching into the pirate strongholds, taking them. We haven't quite finished that operation yet. That operation is still underway, still ongoing, because of course we've got Punda to take care of. We have secured Dutch Guyana, French Guyana, which are turning into a sort of a constant trade. Constant amount of gold coming from the New World. We'll have a new port here as well in Guadeloupe here as well, connecting to the Barbados trade port here as well, feeding into our ports back home. Bringing that gold count up as we need it. But we need to also maybe look to advance further. Where else can we advance? We've got Sweden here. We're allied with Sweden. We can't take them. If we move against Britain, let's have a look at Britain. The Cherokee nations here, they're unfriendly, but they're allies of Britain, and that's why they've got what they've got here. But if we moved against Britain now at the moment, we would be utterly crushed, because we just simply do not have the firepower in the New World there to deal with that. But if we see Spain potentially falling here, and we start to see that domino effect where all these regions start to fall into Britain, and Britain would then control all of South America, the majority here of the Caribbean Sea, and also all of Canada and North America, then we would have to give serious consideration to having to moving a massive amount of forces into the Caribbean to be able to tackle possibly and halt the British expansion here, because we cannot allow Spain to collapse. We may eventually have to prop up Spain's government, and that's no exaggeration. I don't say that lightly, my friends. We've got commitments in the Middle East. We've got commitments in the Eastern Front and the Western Front. We've also got commitments in the New World now in the Caribbean. We've got commitments potentially as well moving into the new subcontinent, which is India, because we've already got a scout ship out there. I believe, do we do control? No. Oh, look at that. That's actually rebels there. We could actually take Ceylon as well and get a sort of establish a base of operations here, a forward operation base, a FOB as it were. If we get this FOB here, then we might even be able to sort of preempt or be prepared, because remember Britain's got Cuttack and Bengal as well. So, if we take Ceylon, this would give us operations to move into here, and we'd have a foothold here if we went to war with Britain. But again, we would do that in preparation of what's to come. It really would. And of course, we've dismantled these buildings here. We want all of these to be put into much better use. So we're going to make these into economic centres here. We've also got one here as well that needs to be moved into. So craft workshop, bringing in a lot of money there for us. Remember, we've got to squeeze every single penny we can out of these. And of course, all these trading companies need to be upgraded as well. We've got a lot to do there and that on that front. But again, we've got quite a lot coming in here and there as well. Needs to be upgraded here, 500 there as well. So again, we've got still a huge amount to do here, and a lot of commitments are huge. We also want to try and move into Venice at some point. We might even move this force here. We're building to move into the Caribbean here. Or this was going to be the start of an army group we're putting together to possibly prop up the Spanish. As you can imagine, I know Spain have got quite a huge amount of territory here, but if Prussia moves in against Spain here and takes Madrid, or moves, we might have to prop up the Spanish government, which is going to be tough, let's be honest. And also with Britain loitering about as well, I think Britain at war. They're at war with Spain. So if Britain moves against Spain as well, our hand might be tipped, and we might be forced to help prop up the Spanish government. So That, my friends, is a lot to consider for the council to consider, but I need the council's advice once again. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, please keep your comments coming down below, my friends. And once again, I hope you're all having a great start to your week. Please be safe. Take care whatever you're doing. Have a great time. But until next time, my friends, bye for now.